Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the DKS part number LADWA-11 large adjustable drywall anchor is what this is. So this is a two-piece anchor that can be used to accommodate different larger jam depths. A drywall type anchor, imagine if this wasn't a two-piece and this returned over flange was basically over here, and that this ear, this portion, ran over here. You would take that and snap it into the frame. This would be towards the stop of the frame. This is towards the studs, and you would bend these tabs over and then run your screws into the side of the studs. Well, what happens when you get unusually large frames, or for whatever reason you need anchors for a larger frame, there'll be a two-piece type of construction. Not that there aren't or don't exist single-piece for larger frames, and the factory will, depending on who the manufacturer is, they very well likely may just have one-piece drywall anchors for your application for that frame depth. Or maybe they don't. They might use a third-party manufacturer to make anchors for them. Don't know that DKS would be considered as such, but there are other people that specialize in manufacturing anchors for the hollow metal industry. So this is a two-piece system, and it has these tabs which will fit into the slots. The slots are graduated to give you the sizes, 7 1/8 down at the bottom, all the way to 12 inch. Now that's certainly going to be a reference to the jam depth. And the way that these go together is you just fit them together based on the size of the frame. So obviously I have that at the maximum size. I've got that snapped together now. So this entire assembly is going to snap into the frame. You're going to bend your tabs over. This is being held in the frame by compression, just by it being snapped or fit in with these this feature here, this metal that will bend over slightly. And then you again just bend this over, and you run your screws through here into your stud. Why would you need something custom like this, or a two-piece system? Well, as I stated earlier, is why you would, but also it could be a scenario by which your manufacturer, you have an unusual wall condition that forced you to purchase an unusual frame. You might have a frame with a jam depth of 10 3/16. Well, you're going to have to use a specialized anchor for doing that, and someone like DKS will be able to sell you those anchors if for some reason you need them. Now, and I didn't really mean to take that apart, but let's put it together down to the 7 1/8 inch size, which would be a common jam depth, 7 1/8, which would be your 6 1/8 throat, which would give you a 4 layers of drywall, along with, I needed a little extra leverage to get that put together, and I'm not going to snap it all the way down, but your 7 1/8 inch jam depth is going to be your 3 5/8 metal stud and 4 layers of drywall. So 3 5/8 metal stud, 2 layers of drywall, 2 layers of drywall. That's very commonly where you're going to see this. That means that the outside dimension of this anchor is going to be, somewhere in the 7 inch range for that to really work. You can see that when I hold that tape measure on there, it's going to come out to about 7 inch, because this is going to fit inside of the throat of the frame, between the returns and the rabbet of the frame. Okay, now this will get you from 7 1/8 all the way out to 12 inch, which is very handy. If you're installing this in a frame that's not a 2 inch face, you're going to have a problem with that, because this is really only made for a 2 inch face. And that's because the dimension from here to back here is going to be based on 2 inch. Now, we have, of course, in the past modified this material to work on a smaller frame size like 1.75" or something like inch and a half or whatever the case is. But you literally got to get in there and slice all this, and it becomes problematic. So 2-inch face is what this is going to be made for. I also like to be able to snap these into the frame and then tack weld the back of them. Not that they move, because they're not going to move, but I like to get them into the frame and then tack weld them so that between me and the installer, there's no chance of them getting lost. And then they're securely attached inside of the unit in that regard. This is obviously going to be steel. This is going to be a wipe coat galvanized product, so it's got some corrosion resistance on it, even though it has some evidence of having gotten wet. The fact of the matter is this is steel. That's galvanized and will work really well for those applications. So where you're going to use this is when you have an unusual size frame, that you have a stud construction happening, where you generally have a very deep frame where you need to go from the 7 1/8 out to a 12-inch jam depth. And you can certainly take these pieces and custom make your own. We've cut these tabs off and we've welded them together to go out to 18-inch. Whatever the case is, but having this product to begin with gets you closer to getting your frame installed. They weigh about 1/2 pound each. Now there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the DKS products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. The summary of DKS is that they are an importer of hollow metal products. They have an installation, a shop, a warehouse in Southern California, and they import a tremendous amount of steel doors on an annual basis. They have a shop that's capable of everything that I've ever asked them to do, but that generally doesn't exceed splicing headers and welding frames and lock and deadbolt preps and things of that nature. I've never asked them to do acoustical lead lining, curtain walls with radiused shapes, things of that nature. I don't believe that's up their alley whatsoever. But what is up their alley is an incredibly deep inventory. If you want to do 30 6070 double egress openings from stock, they could be your people. Very reasonable prices. There are people there that are very knowledgeable about hollow metal, which I personally greatly appreciate. And they genuinely want to do a good job for you, and they absolutely bend over backwards to do everything that can be done and possible. Hollow metal is a tough industry. It seems to be the part of the door hardware industry that is the most problematic, the most work, the most headaches, the most rewarding for someone like me to sell it because of my long, deep experience with hollow metal. And I appreciate DKS. They are a very good weapon to have in your armory, so to speak, if you're a distributor, because of their ability to move stuff quickly, do so reasonably, and have lots of material on hand, and have an extensive shop. They don't do any shearing and press breaking of material there. I believe that all comes from overseas, and I'm yet to visit their shop and warehouse, which I will do at some point. But at this time, I can tell you that their full-line catalog there will allow you to review all of their door and frame material. But there's also a parts list there, and they do a great job just shipping out parts, and they have their own catalog for that. As you can probably tell, I'm partial to DKS, and it's because they earn that from us. They do want our business. If you have any questions on the DKS LADWA-11 adjustable two-piece drywall anchor, and you can also use this. You can cut these ears off, let's say. If you're not using wood studs, you can literally just fold these back, bring your stud right back up to here. Just imagine that these are straight. And then you can go through the back of your stud into this flange and into this flange with your zip screws. So you can do that as well. Having those welded in would be really good, though. Any questions on the LADWA-11 large adjustable two-piece drywall anchor or any other DKS product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.